Hello, my name is Chase Kenner, and I am an M&A advisor with FA Mergers. And today I want to talk to you about Ironman exits. The goal is to have this make sense by the end of this video. Bear with me. So, typically, when I speak with a lower middle market business owner who's never sold a company before, it can be difficult for them to fully grasp the true value of an M&A advisor or even understand what an M&A advisor is. Most companies generating between 3 million and 20 million of EBITDA are accustomed to being approached by buyers. And because it's in an entrepreneur's DNA, it's just how they're built to roll up their sleeves, figure things out, get things done. Many owners feel confident entertaining an offer if the price and the timing seem right. That's, completely understandable. Also very common. In fact, many of the clients we represent fall into one or two categories. Owners who previously sold a company on their own and vowed just never to do that again. And also owners who have tried to represent themselves for perhaps a few years and are just simply exhausted. They're tired of false promises, entertaining tire kickers and looky-loos, which is also distracting them from running their business. And they may start to see that, performance or KPIs are suffering. And also they just feel uneasy once they get into buyer diligence or, heavy negotiations deep into the process. They're uneasy about what they don't know. Every business owner understands, however, that the harder you grind and the more intentionally you grind in your business, the more the marketplace that you serve rewards you, right? And the same is true about your exit. So why wouldn't you want to go as hard as possible, like Iron Man level hard, when you're facing what's perhaps the largest liquidity event that your family tree has ever witnessed? I'm a visual person, so I lean on analogies. And the best one I've used in the past about a proper M&A process is a blind competitive process is the Ironman Triathlon of Exits. Again, bear with me. So you can limp into an exit with a reputable regional buyer who bought you a steak dinner. But at the end of the day, how would you actually know that the offer presented to you is the best price and terms that the market can produce? You just simply don't know that. A buyer rarely will write a check and to where it hurts, right? Unless competition is forcing them to. That's just the simple nature of deal making. And that's why my partners and I often say you never really have an offer until you have two. A non-competing offer is rarely the best offer. It's usually just the tip of the iceberg. And this is where the Ironman exit, a structured, blind, competitive process, becomes extremely valuable and more often the most lucrative path to monetizing your largest asset. Now, if I ask most people whether they dive into an Ironman race if a generational wealth outcome awaited them at the finish line, I bet a lot of people would say yes, but few would be physically prepared to survive it, myself included. The data shows that the same is true in the sales process. So according to the Exit Planning Institute, roughly 70 to 80% of businesses that go to market actually never sell. Just as not everyone is ready to compete a physical Ironman triathlon, not every business owner is prepared to endure a competitive sale process. There's great news out there for selling a company. The difference is that a competitive process can be outsourced to professionals like ourselves who have literally run hundreds of these competitive races. And when structured properly, it's the business owner who comes out on top. So at FA Mergers, we run this Ironman level competitive process for lower middle market companies. If your business falls within this category, so if you're worth between 10 million and 200 million of enterprise value, your advisory options outside of legal representation are quite limited. So your M&A advisory options, the people who are representing the economics of the deal and the business side of the transaction, You're typically at that size, you're too small for Wall Street investment banks. You're too large for the traditional regional business brokers who heavily rely on broad listing sites where only a small fraction of the respondents are actually qualified or even looking for businesses like yours. And this is what we call, my partners and I, the dangerous middle. So it's a significantly underserved gap in the market. Now, our process is designed specifically for companies valued between that 10 and $200 million range. We bring the same disciplined, intentional approach that large investment banks use for those marquee transactions on Wall Street, and we deliver that level of execution to owners down on Main Street in the lower mid market. So rather than passively listing a business out into the ether and hoping that the market gods respond, we build intentionally a private, curated marketplace tailored to our clients. Instead of showing, your business to everyone with a pulse, we're targeting 50 to 100 just solid, qualified, funded financial and strategic buyers who are actively pursuing companies like yours. It's also important that each buyer is informed that they are invited amongst a select elite group to bid on this business. So they are invited to the negotiation table at the same time with everyone else in order to submit a bid. Now, here's where the word blind comes in. The process is blind, which means buyers have no idea who they're competing against. This is what really creates tension. Tension drives value, stronger deal terms, and then it also gives us leverage to maintain control of the process, setting deadlines and ensuring that the deal doesn't unravel or become too extended, because it's cliche, but it's true. Time does kill all deals. And as complex as all of that sounds, by the time we get to this part, anyone who has worked on a deal, sold a company, has been part of one of these processes, they know that we've only just begun. So the party's just getting started at that point. Most deals die after a letter of intent is signed. So once the buyer is narrowed down and the letter of intent, which is granting exclusivity to the buyer to perform their diligence and then work towards a closing, right? The letter of intent is an agreement to work on an agreement, which is the purchase agreement, the true agreement. Often these deals die when the end is in sight. It's sad. It's terrible. During diligence, attorneys, auditors, and deal teams are requesting mountains of information, financial schedules, regulatory reviews, updates, Q&A sessions, compliance checks, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't understand what truly matters, literally what can kill and not kill a deal during this chaos, you can easily drown in the noise. So emotions flare. Advisors sometimes push their own priorities, such as specialty advisors. They can sort of, like a dog with a bone, just really focus and hone in on their own requirements with blinders on to everyone else. And without someone harmonizing the process and protecting the economics and keeping everyone in their lane, transactions unravel quickly. At FA Mergers, our incentives, however, we're aligned with our clients. So we are truly success-based. That means we're compensated only if the deal closes and our clients accomplish their goals. So we are phenomenal at conducting the orchestra. We harmonize the moving parts and we keep the music playing all the way to closing day. If you're a business owner and you're considering your exit, you want to better understand how a competitive process works, look, feel free to reach out directly at chase@famergers.com and we can hop on a call and discuss. You can also visit famergers.com, our website. It has a ton of information, great content on there about what we do, and also conversations with prior clients and advisors that we regularly work alongside. Thank you.